I wanted to show you what we call the mini band march series. There's actually 3 exercises. There's 2 versions of what I call the anterior march and then 1 version of the posterior march, or it's a supine march. So check this out. I have the band, the mini band, wrapped around the tops of my feet or my shoelaces. And what I want to do is try to keep my pelvis fairly level, my shoulders fairly level. You can keep your hands on your hips or your hands behind your head. It's personal preference. And then what I'm going to do from there is keep my ankle dorsiflex, that's toes to your nose, and then just kind of flex my hip up as high as I can, hold it for a couple seconds. Now I can bring that down and do the same side, or I can alternate sides and lift it up. And when I'm working here, so much focus is on the posterior chain. You hear that a lot, posterior chain, posterior chain, posterior chain. But your posterior chain is one component, and the anterior chain is another component. So we need to strengthen the anterior chain. This exercise is going to help you incorporate posterior chain on one side and anterior chain on the other side. So you get that reciprocal hip extension, hip flexion action. That's what we're looking for, and that's what this delivers. So here's the standing version. What I'm also looking for here is good stability. I don't want to see going like this, side shifting, things like that. So you're going to do these anywhere from 5 to 15 reps per leg. I like about a 2-second hold at the top. So that's one way to do it. Then we can go supine. Supine is basically like the standing version, but it's a little more core integrated because now you have to hold yourself up. So I'm in push-up position, like so. Hold a good solid body, and then I use that band to bring my knee to my chest. Now, I don't mind if the lumbar spine, this area, rounds slightly because that's part of that flexion chain. For someone who has disc problems, lumbar disc problems, I would try to keep them neutral, so I would like to see a lordotic curve maintained. Someone who has a healthy back, I don't mind if they flex slightly because your lumbar spine is designed to flex slightly in this movement. So here, hold for a second, come back, and I can switch sides, or I can stay the same side. Same rep ranges apply. So both those get the anterior chain there, with secondary, the posterior chain. Here, this really focuses on the posterior chain, glutes, hamstrings, back, secondary, the flexor chain. What I'm going to do is elevate my feet, knees slightly bent. You can vary the degree of bend depending on what you prefer. My personal preference is about a 10 to 15 degree bend. Head down. You're going to lift your hips up, and then from there, so that lift starts to engage the glutes and the hamstrings, I'm going to pull the band towards me. Now pulling that band towards me really makes this fire up to stabilize, because now I've got this flexing, which means that has to extend more, and then I can bring it back and then switch. This is great core training right here, that entire torso. Right. So these are what I would call supplementary exercises. You can call them activation, you can call them active recovery, put them in between upper body exercises. Regardless of how you incorporate them, they don't replace things like single leg squats and deadlifts and all the primary exercises we showed you throughout the body of this DVD. But these are the little additional exercises that can make for a big difference to help you get that little extra edge in your training and to take your results that much higher. So that's the band march series. Give it a shot.